The last one. Yeah. I think today is the last session. Yes. As I told you, the exam will be on Monday, afternoon 2:30. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you so much for your kind association.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So we're on chapter 18 here of the 6th canto. We're hearing about Aditi and the Maruts, and Aditi vows to kill Indra. That's Aditi is going to vow to kill Indra. So we heard yesterday we were reading the beginning of the chapter, right? First of all, the connection from the previous chapter is that Sukadeva Goswami was describing about the activities of the different sons of Aditi. The different sons of Aditi, and we heard about Twasta, the sons of Aditi, right? And now, going on, we're hearing about well, it was described about other sons, and we came to Indra, and we hear how Diti wants to have a son to kill Indra. So she was so upset because her two sons, Haranyakashipu and Haranyaksha, had both been killed, and she blamed Indra for it. So she began to plan how she could get her husband to give her a benediction. Of course, benediction she wants is to have a son who can kill Indra. Right? So she began to serve her husband very nicely, very pleasingly, nice, speaking very sweetly to him. You know, when the woman wants something, then she is very intelligent how to get it, right? Kashyapa, the husband, he became captivated, he became allured by the behavior of Diti. And so text number 30 goes on and it describes the nature of the material world. How in the beginning of the creation, Lord Brahma created women from the better half of a man's body. And he says, woman's behavior carries away a man's mind. And then there's a heavy purport, very powerful purport by Srila Prabhupada. And he quotes a lot of things, in particular here's Lord Rishabdev, the 5th canto, Pumsam Striya Majjani Bhavam Pritam. And then you get 9th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. a man should not associate with a woman in a solitary place, not even with his mother, sister, or daughter, for the senses are so strong they can lead astray even a person advanced in knowledge. And then ekanta bhutani, meaning what?
Avoid sexual desires. To
Ek-
avoid sexual desires, we should avoid the company of woman as far as possible. Detached.
Ekanta bhutani,
Detached, Maharaj.
detached, right? Detached from of course the hardest thing, the main thing to be detached from is the company of the opposite sex. We should avoid the opposite sex as far as possible. It says, when a man remains in a solitary place with a woman, his sexual desires undoubtedly increase. So have to be very careful about association. So Kashyapa was very pleased by the mild behavior of Diti, and he tells her, "Oh beautiful woman, oh my goodness, oh irreproachable lady, I am very much pleased by your behavior. You can ask any benediction." So he tells his wife, "You can ask." So then what does she ask for? That was the shock. He didn't expect what she was going to ask for. Husband represents the Lord as the object of worship for a woman. You know, he speaks nice words about the position of the husband in relation to a woman. Husband is the supreme demigod for a woman. Lord Vasudeva, the husband of the goddess of fortune, is worshipped through various names. Similarly, a husband represents the Lord as the object of worship for a woman. We don't usually find it to be quite like that, you know. That can usually be something very different. Anyway, purport, Prabhupada said, a woman, if women who are usually very much attached to their husbands worship their husbands as representatives of Vasudeva, the woman benefits. Just as Ajamil benefited by calling for Narayan. So if a woman, not that, usually, well, sometimes a woman, for some time they may worship their husbands, but not all the time, the relationship varies. Anyway, if the husband and wife are attached to each other for advancement in Krishna consciousness, then that's good, then they can advance. As long as one is very much attached to material sense gratification, the worship of the demigods or the worship of one's husband is recommended. Right? Yeah. So, that's why it's so common. People are very attached to material sense gratification, so they can worship demigods or they worship their husband. That's recommended. What will happen? They worship the demigods.
They get their material sense gratification requirement fulfilled.
And what happens if she worships her husband?
Same thing.
Same thing, yeah. Yeah, husband will like it, right? Husband will be pleased.
What does worship husband means? Worship means what? Puja. We have our system to have
सब नाम है पूजा आरती भक्ति आराधना सब नाम है
Worship, it can just mean respect. To respect. In this case, I think it's more akin of having respect. Not arguing. It's a common problem.
Maharaj,
Uh-huh.
if the husband is not following the scriptures or breaking a regulated principle or doing something wrong, the wife still has to respect the husband.
Yes. Yes, because you married him. So you accepted him.
The way,
Huh?
even if he makes mistakes or if he makes like big mistakes,
What?
if one keeps committing, if the husband keeps committing big mistakes,
Well, you see in Chaitanya Charitamrita there is the pastime with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had a daughter, and her daughter was married to a man called Amoga. And Amoga was he criticized Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He openly blasphemed him, said, "You're supposed to be a sannyasi, look at you eating all this food." Because he came to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house and they cooked a big meal for him. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was very angry. He chased him, but Amoga ran away. So anyway, he told his daughter, he said, "From now on you're a widow. He said, give up your relationship with that man. You're a widow." So that's what happened. If you're not going to follow your husband, then you become a widow. So, anyway, here, this is Kashyapa is telling Diti, he's praising her, and he's saying you should devoutly worship your husband as a representative of Vasudeva. And then he tells her, because you worship me with devotion, considering me a representative of God, I shall reward you by fulfilling your desires. And then Diti tells what her desire is. And she tells her husband, I have now lost my sons. If you want to give me a benediction, I ask you for an immortal son who can kill Indra. I pray for this because Indra, with the help of Vishnu, has killed my two sons, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Right? So this is Diti's desire. So, Amrityam is the demigods, because the demigods, they're considered, they have a very long life. So Amrityam means like immortal, but they're not immortal, but they have a very long life. They don't die like ordinary human beings. They have extremely long duration of life. So they're called Amrityam, or sometimes they're just called Amara, means deathless. So Diti wanted a son like that. She wanted a son who would be equal to the demigods. And at the same time, he has to be able to kill Indra. So when Kashyapa heard this, then he's not very happy. Naturally, he's a saintly person, and he's one of the Prajapatis. He's supposed to help populate the universe. And here his wife, Diti, wants to kill somebody. So he said, now I face the danger of the impious act of killing Indra. Right? So Kashyapa didn't want to do anything impious. And he understood his mistake. Kashyapa goes on, he's understood what happened there. He said, I've become too attached to material enjoyment, and my wife has taken advantage of me. So he said, I'm a wretched person, and I will go down to hell. And his wife had tricked him in some ways, because he never thought she would want something like that. But then he thinks about it, and you can see in text number 40, he said, this woman, my wife, he said, she's just, it's her nature. I can't really blame her for it, because it's a woman's nature to be attached to her children and to want to get revenge and like that. But he said, I'm a man. All condemnation upon me. If I'm not conversant with what is good for me, because I could not control my senses. So, it seems to be different for men and it's for women. I was reading one article that came up somewhere about a court case. The man put a case against his wife, that the wife had been cruel to him. The wife had spoken unkind and harsh words to him, and he was suing his wife. He was suing her. They were big people, very wealthy people. She was like an actress or something, and he just said the wife, was just so dominating and so nasty, and words would cut him to pieces.
Oh, the Johnny Depp.
Huh?
Johnny Depp case. Yeah, the actor's name is Johnny Depp.
What's the name?
Johnny.
Oh, I don't remember the name.
Yeah.
But
It was a big case.
Huh?
Between husband and wife, there was a big case, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, he made a case against her for being violent against him with her nasty words.
Maharaj, last year one software engineer committed suicide in Bengaluru due to divorce issue, and that issue came in Indian Parliament that men are being victimized in marriages also. Men are also being victimized in marriages.
What?
Men are being victimized in marriages.
Men are being victimized in marriages.
They want protection.
Yeah, it can work both ways. Sometimes, some women are very dominating, very powerful, And of course, in India, generally, the man is anything happens, the woman the man gets arrested.
Yeah.
You don't see any women going to jail for that. When you go to the jail, there's a lot of men in jail for things like that. That they've done something happened with it, and the wife put a case against them, and they're arrested, they're in the jail. You look at a woman the wrong way, they'll get you, In India, they're very strict about protecting the women. But sometimes it's the women who are off, sometimes.
Many times.
It can go both ways.
Many times. Sometimes. Many times.
So Kashyapa, anyway, he says it wasn't her fault, she's just a woman and that's her nature. But he said it was my fault that I could not control my senses. He became attached to all the service he was getting from her. And in this way, he thought I should give her some blessing. And he said, Prabhupada writes, he said, especially if the man is accustomed to eating meat and drinking wine, then certainly he becomes sexually inclined. And then he says, sexual inclinations are meant not for spiritual progress, but for gliding down to hell. So, householder life is very risky unless one is trained and the wife is a follower of her husband. A husband should be trained also, the very beginning of his life. Right? Komar Acharet Pragna. From the beginning of life, the man has to be trained. Brahmacharya, that is the training. And the women should also get trained. Brahmacharini, and women can also undergo training. Of course, they can also be trained at home. That their family at home will train them to be brahmacharini. And they will train them in doing things like cooking and cleaning, and serving. So this is the problem today. Mother and father go out to work. Nobody's taking care of the children. Nobody's training them. Children are left at home. Maybe a maid is there. She'll cook some food for them. But mother and father both working, nobody taking care of them. So the children grow up without any real training. And you go to school, you don't get any training in schools. In schools, what do they train you? I don't know how the international school does here.
International school earlier would train, now no, they don't. Earlier we had cooking classes, Didi worship and all that. But now the cooking class, I don't know if it's happening.
Well, there's still, I was just yesterday talking with one devotee, he told me he's teaching the children to do puja.
Yeah, there's Didi worship. There's Didi worship and it's changed. Earlier there was one Gurukul meant for girls just to cook, clean and train. So it is more academics. Like as you grow, there's more pressure on academics. So, but there's Didi worship and academics.
Okay.
And Bhakti Shastri.
Anyway, the men, young men, brahmachari, should be taught to be expert in Bhagavad Dharma, devotional service. Then, when he marries, if the wife is faithful and follows him, then the relationship will be good. But if Narayani was speaking about it in one of her lectures I was hearing. She was saying about how in India and Bangladesh and like that, they have arranged marriages. And somebody was questioning, how could you get married to somebody you don't know? So the person said, well, he said, usually, you people, Westerners and like that, you fall in love and then you get married. And then after marriage, then you fall out of love. But in the East, people get married first. And then, by service, then they develop some love for each other. So the love comes better that way, rather than just, you like each other or you're attracted to each other. into sex desire. That's not very good. It's not. It's better that, arranged marriages, the couple meet and then get married and then they make a relationship. But if they know each other before marriage, then it's very difficult. When people have a relationship before marriage, often the girl's pregnant, so they go and get married. And it's a very, very bad start to the marriage, And then they won't have a good relationship for very long. After some time, they'll get divorced. And that's why you have a lot of broken marriages. So the relationship between men and women is very important. So Prabhupada quotes Srimad Bhagavatam. Householder life in the Kali Yuga is extremely dangerous unless both the wife and husband take to Krishna consciousness. So both the wife and the husband, you have a lot of times that the woman's a devotee, man's not a devotee. Very difficult. And people say, "Oh, how can I make my husband a devotee?" Very difficult. Man's been eating meat his whole life, can't get him to stop. So then he talks more. Kashyapa continues talking more about the nature of a woman. That they're very attractive, very beautiful, words are very sweet, pleasing to the ear, but if we study the woman's heart, we can see it's very sharp, and it's like the blade of a razor can cut you to pieces. So this is the problem. And the nature of the woman is her body and everything is made to be attractive. And especially when they're in the teenagers' time, the time of teenagers, 16, 17, like that, that's when they're very attractive to men, teenage women. So a woman's face is like the lotus flower. And generally women like to sing, and their singing can be very attractive. And Prabhupada comments in the purport that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught it's very dangerous for a sannyasi to hear a woman sing. To hear the voice of a woman or to see her face certainly becomes attractive and is sure to fall down. So you can see the Islamic culture, they have that, the women cover their face. You can't see the face of the woman. Only the husband sees the face. They cover their face. They have that dress that they wear. Women in Hindu society, they're also supposed to be chaste. Supposed to wear the sari in a way to cover the body. But a lot of times they wear the sari to reveal the body rather than cover the body. So you get that problem. He talks about Vishwamitra and Menaka. So a woman's bodily features are very attractive, her voice is sweet, so it's a trap for a man. And when a woman comes to serve a man, she should be considered to be like a dark well covered by grass. A dark well covered by grass. It's when the woman coming to serve a man. And who can understand the heart of a woman? And then Prabhupada quotes Chanakya, two people we cannot trust, politician and women. Prabhupada said these are authoritative shastric injunctions, and we should therefore be very careful in our dealings with women. We therefore request all the members of the Krishna consciousness movement, both men and women, not to be attracted by bodily features, but only to be attracted by Krishna. Then everything will be all right. Otherwise, there will be danger. So we have to be careful. In 42, text 42. For their own purposes, women will try to deal with men to get something for their own interests. The women are supposed to be very saintly, but sometimes they will even kill their husbands, or their sons or brothers, or cause them to be killed by others. So women are meant to be protected. That is the position of women. They should be protected by men. And then their natural inclination, which is to be self-interested, will not be manifested. So women have to be careful. They should not be free to manifest their natural tendency for gross selfishness. So some women not only women but also men we're in the bodily concept of life. The man may be advanced in spiritual consciousness, then the bodily concept of life will go. Right? If we are Krishna conscious, if we're in the spiritual consciousness, then we won't be in bodily consciousness. Yes?
But spiritual consciousness means we are all within the gunas. We are in Sattva-guna is spiritual consciousness or?
Well, spiritual consciousness means you're in Krishna consciousness. You've transcended the gunas.
At a very high level.
Yes, that's right. You have to come to a very high level. We have to get free of the modes of nature by always being engaged in devotional service.
Oh.
Right? If you're engaged in devotional service, then you're on a high level.
So even in Sattva-guna, this kind of...
Well, the problem in Sattva-guna is that any time you can fall back down to passion and ignorance. So we have to come up to the pure goodness, so we don't fall back. We have to be engaged in devotional service without falling down. Yes?
How can they be cared? How can women be cared so that they don't manifest their self-interest or gross selfishness?
Well, one thing is the woman has to be protected by a man who's strong in Krishna consciousness. Right? If the husband is strong in Krishna consciousness, then he can protect the wife.
But in what sense protection? Like, how is protection related to gross selfishness or?
Well, gross selfishness is one person in the bodily concept of life, right? So that one person who's in the bodily concept of life, he has to be protected by another. Now sometimes the wife has to protect the husband. It's not all the time the husband protects the wife. Sometimes the husband's in Maya and the wife has to protect him. So how do you do it? By being very Krishna conscious, by chanting the holy name, and by not accepting any of the proposals for sense enjoyment, just by being strongly fixed in Krishna's service. Prabhupada writes, we should see all women as spiritual units, whose only duty is to satisfy Krishna. The Krishna consciousness movement is so powerful, so beneficial, that it can very easily counteract the contamination of material nature. So, we have to just simply engage in Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness, however, provides first-class training for a man or a woman. A man should be trained to be a first-class devotee of Lord Krishna, and a woman should be trained to be a very chaste follower of her husband. That will make the lives of both of them happy.
Maharaj, when Srila Prabhupada spoke about these topics in the Western society, in USA, he had some backlash due to feminism. They did not like Prabhupada speaking about all this stuff. So sometimes I observed, I stayed 5 years in the US, it is very difficult to speak about these topics also, Maharaj. They are outspokenly they say, no, we can't talk like this on the Vyasas, no, can't discuss these things.
Anyway, Prabhupada didn't compromise. He didn't change just because he's in the West. It's the same message wherever he was. Right? If you're going to be Krishna conscious, you have to come out of the bodily concept of life. You have to give up all of these thoughts of sense gratification. We have to control the mind and senses. So, there were so many young people there in Prabhupada's time. You can watch the movies, you can see so many young people. Prabhupada told them all, And he told all the young women, you have to get married. And you have to have a Krishna conscious husband. So the women have to be trained to follow the husband, the men have to be very good devotees. Yeah, it's not easy. And actually they said it would take some generations before we got good quality devotees in our Krishna consciousness movement. Initially, because we're all coming out of a very uncultured kind of society, so to come into Krishna consciousness is a big change. But you have to do it, you have to make that change. And gradually we improve the quality of the devotees. Okay. Initially, coming from the mode of passion and ignorance, so coming up to the mode of goodness, and then going on to the mode of pure goodness. So it takes some time, but this is the program, you can't change. Okay, so then Kashyapa said, I promised to give her a benediction this promise cannot be violated, but Indra does not deserve to be killed. In these circumstances, the solution I have is quite suitable. What's the solution?
Be Krishna conscious.
Huh?
Be Krishna conscious.
Make Deity a devotee slowly. They're putting a lot of rules and regulations.
Well, his solution was, I shall train her in such a way that instead of always thinking of how to kill Indra, she becomes a Vaishnava, a devotee of Krishna. If she agrees to follow the rules and regulations of the Vaishnava principles, the unclean core of her heart will certainly be cleansed. So this is the process of devotional service. It can purify even the dirtiest class of men and transform them into the topmost Vaishnava. So, Diti, she's a powerful lady. She's not an ordinary lady. She's one of the wives of Kashyapa Muni. She'd already given birth to people like Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha. So, Kashyapa wants to change her a little bit, make her a devotee, right? He wants to change her, clean her heart, get her to follow the Vaishnava principles. So even the lowest class of men can be changed. Brajendra Nandana ye sachi sutahaila he Balaram Alonitai Dinahina Yatachilo Harin Udarilo. Yes, Dinahina means very fallen souls. They can be delivered by the power of the holy name. And the example is there, Jagai and Madhai. So that's the power, the holy name. Lord Chaitanya came to deliver the fallen souls. So Kashyapa Muni wants to change his wife into a Vaishnavi so that she might give up the ideas of killing Indra. And then talk about falling down. Because in the course of practicing devotional service, sometimes you fall down, right? Sometimes you get angry. Sometimes, sometimes you do things wrong, But so Kashyapa Muni thought that even if someone falls down while practicing Vaishnava principles, he is not a loser. That's of course there in the Bhagavad Gita. A little advancement made can save us from the greatest danger. So Kashyapa Muni is planning to teach his wife to become a Vaishnava because he doesn't want Indra to be killed. So next verse 44, so Kashyapa Muni became somewhat angry. Condemning himself, he spoke to Diti as follows. Kashyapa said, "My dear gentle wife, if you follow my instructions regarding this vow for at least 1 year, you will surely get a son who will be able to kill Indra. However, if you deviate from this vow, you will get a son who will be favorable to Indra." So this is the story, right? This is what happens. For 1 year, she has to follow this vow. Some ladies like to do these kind of things, these kind of vows. Did you ever do it?
I'm not married yet.
Huh? Well, you're not married yet. You can still do these kind of vows. You can do it to get a husband, you know. Right? You're not married, then you can do maybe you have to do the vow and then you'll get a husband. You know?
In South India, we see many women who are not married, they do this kind of some vows to marriage.
Yeah. In Vrindavan, Kalyana Brat, right? After Kartik, the young girls all go to Yamuna early in the morning, take bath in the cold water. Ooh. And it's cold. But they do it. Kalyana Brat. They want a husband. So, anyway, Diti is going to be instructed by her husband to do this kind of thing. And Indra is going to be watching her to see if she will if she will make any mistakes. Because if she follows it strictly, she'll get a son who can kill Indra. But if she makes a mistake, then she'll get somebody who's a friend of it. So, it's very nice because the things she has to do are very powerful, very purifying. So Diti said, all right, I accept your advice, I agree, I'll do what you say. Tell me what I have to do, what is forbidden. Please clearly tell me all this. Because she's eager to get the son who will kill Indra. Let me know what the vow is, how I have to follow it. I promise I will do the needful and not break the vow. Prabhupada says, end of the purport, by nature a woman wants to be a follower of a man. Therefore, if the man is good, the woman can be trained for a good purpose. So women generally can be trained nicely. They'll do what they're told.
I have a question. So here it's actually between husband and wife. If nature of a woman is to follow a man, and it don't have to be always husband. It can be a father. It can be a spiritual master also.
Yeah.
So sometimes if the husband is not a devotee or something, that woman follows spiritual master, and then it is okay for her, for her spiritual life.
Yeah. She follows the guru.
Yeah, it don't have to be exactly husband.
The husband gets some benefit.
Yes.
When I heard that when a husband does something pious or spiritual, the wife gets 50%, but whatever the wife does, the husband.
Yeah, they share each other's pious and
No, but I heard that whatever negative the wife does, the husband gets 50%. Like the husband does not get the positive of the wife.
No, he does.
He does.
Yeah.
Karma-wise maybe, but
The husband and
she's
wife.
going to temple and
They share each other's pious and sinful activities.
I heard of sinful activities. I heard only the wife goes to the husband.
No, not only the wife. The husband and the wife, they share pious activities of each other. Right? Just like the husband's working, he shares his money with the wife. The wife's working, put the money together, right? They don't say, this is my money, you've got your money. So, Kashyapa tells her all the things she has to do. Do not be violent, don't cause harm to anyone. Don't curse anyone, don't speak lies, Do not cut your hair and nails. Do not touch impure things like skulls and bones.
Not cut nails for 1 year?
Yeah,
That's it's gonna grow away.
bit of an austerity, yeah. You don't cut your hair.
Hair doesn't give nails. How is not cutting nails being clean?
Well, in Chaturmasya also they don't cut hair.
Yeah.
Also on Ekadashi it is said you should not cut your hair or nails or oil.
It's a bodily thing.
Yeah, don't pay attention to your body. That's what it is.
Make it look
So Kashyapa Muni's instruction that his wife not be envious indicates that this is the first stage of advancement in Krishna consciousness. Kashyapa desired to train his wife to be a Krishna conscious person. This would suffice to protect both her and Indra. And then more instructions for her. Never enter the water while bathing. Never enter the water while bathing.
How does that work?
Well, bathing, you put soap and stuff on your body, so you don't enter the water, you know. You bring the water out, you know, you shouldn't use soap in the Ganga. When you're in the Ganga, you don't use soap. So you take the water out and use it on the side of the river. Right?
Like we should not swim in the Ganga?
Well, if you don't use soap in the Ganga,
No.
so you're bathing, you don't, you know.
Oh. After bathing she can enter.
It says never enter the water while bathing. So you go in the water, you should have done your bathing on the side of the river.
Yes.
Never be angry.
Whoa, that's tough.
Do not even speak or associate with wicked people. Never wear clothes which have not been properly washed, and do not put a garland that has already been worn.
So how about Mahagarland?
Huh?
If it is a Mahagarland,
What is it?
Mahagarland.
Mahagarland.
So if you
Well, Mahagarland has prasadam. That's okay.
So this is not correct.
Never eat leftover food. Never eat prasad offered to the goddess Kali. Don't eat anything contaminated by flesh or fish. Don't eat anything brought or touched by a Sudra. Not anything seen by a woman in her menstrual period. Do not drink water by joining your palms. See, so many instructions. After eating, you must wash your mouth, hands and feet. Should not go out in the evening or with your hair loose. Right? Shouldn't go out with your hair loose. Women often they have their hair hanging everywhere. They don't tie up their hair. You should not go out unless you're properly decorated with ornaments. If you go to the like Bharatanatyam school or something like that, you have to come with ornaments, you have to have a necklace on, you know, different things. Don't leave the house unless you're very grave and are sufficiently covered.
What's grave?
Serious.
Oh, you have to be serious?
Yes, you shouldn't be joking. Should not lay down without having washed both your feet, or without being purified, nor with wet feet, or with your head pointed west or north. should not lie naked or with other women or during the sunrise or sunset. Oh, so many things. Putting on washcloth, being always pure, adorned with turmeric, sandalwood pulp, other auspicious items before breakfast, worship the cows, the brahmanas, the goddess of fortune, and the supreme personality of Godhead. With flower garlands, sandalwood pulp ornaments, and other paraphernalia, a woman following this vow should worship women who have sons and whose husbands are living. Pregnant wife should worship her husband and offer him prayers. She should meditate upon him, thinking he is situated in her womb.
Who?
Huh?
The husband?
She should meditate upon him, the husband.
Husband is who?
Thinking he is situated in her womb. Pregnant, right? She's pregnant. The pregnant wife should worship her husband and offer. So she should think that he is, because the husband has impregnated the wife, so she should think that he is situated in her womb. The son is a representative of the child in the womb is a representative of her husband. Purport, Prabhupada, the child in the womb is a part of the husband's body. So he remains, indirectly, he remains within the womb of the pregnant wife. Yeah? And then you have to perform the ceremony with faith for at least 1 year. Then you will give birth to a son destined to kill Indra. But if there's any fault in the discharge of this vow, your son will be a friend of Indra. So Diti agreed to undergo the ceremony. She said, yes, I shall do everything according to your instructions. So she became pregnant, taking semen from Kashyapa, and faithfully began discharging the vow. So Indra understood. Indra knew what was happening. And so he's very careful. He wants to find out the fault, wants to find out some fault in Diti. So he became the servant of a Diti and he began to serve her. Just as she had served her husband, now Indra is serving Diti.
Everyone's selfish service.
She is the aunt of Indra, she is aunt. Diti is the aunt of Indra.
Aditi's sister Diti, Masi.
Yeah.
No, he asked that is Diti the aunt of Indra. I said he's the Aditi's sister is Diti, so like maternal aunt.
Okay.
Aditi and Diti are sisters, right? So Diti is a maternal aunt of Indra.
Okay. So Indra served his aunt daily, bringing flowers, fruits, roots, wood. He brought kusha grass, leaves, earth, water, everything exactly at the proper time. Right? This is all, actually Indra's doing devotional service because he's bringing all the paraphernalia and Diti is going to use it for the worship of the Supreme Lord. So Kashyapa is very clever. He engaged his wife in devotional service and because of his wife, Indra also is doing devotional service now, bringing all the paraphernalia. And then Sukadeva Goswami says is like the hunter of a deer becomes like a deer, covering his body with deer skin and serving the deer. So Indra, although the enemy of the sons of Diti, became outwardly friendly and served deity in a faithful way. Indra's purpose was to cheat deity because he wants to find some fault. And when he finds some fault, then he can do something. But Indra doesn't want her to know he's undetected. So he served her very carefully. She didn't think, why is he serving me? So Indra could not find any fault, and he thought, oh, this is a problem. Because if she doesn't do anything wrong, then she'll get a son who can kill Indra. So Indra's in a lot of anxiety because she didn't do anything wrong. But then, right, and then we hear text 60 describes how Diti had become weak and thin because of following the vows. Diti once, unfortunately, neglected to wash her mouth, hands and feet after eating and went to sleep during the evening twilight.
Oh, Sanya.
So that's inauspicious time.
Is it Sandhya Arati time in the evening twilight? Is it during Sandhya Arati?
Sandhya Arati, yeah. Sandhya Arati evening twilight. Just as the sun is setting, sun's going down. So you don't sleep at that time, right?
Maharaj, it is stated in Ramayana that the demons become very powerful during twilight.
The demons
become very powerful during twilight time.
Yeah, right. Their power becomes more in the twilight, right? You can hear all the jackals when it comes to twilight.
Yes, Maharaj.
Jackals become active. Yeah. And she forgot. So she slept during twilight and she forgot to wash her mouth, hands and feet. Very important. Training people to do these things. After cleaning, just to train, we have to train people, Krishna, trying to get people to just eat with the right hand. Common people, they don't, but here in Bengal, I see people coming, they're very trained, they sit down and eat, everybody's just eating with the right hand. But when you go in a country like Russia, England, America,
Fork, spoon.
2 hands. Prabhupada said 2 hands means meat eater. If you use 2 hands to eat your food, that's a sign of you're a meat eater. You have to be very conscious. When Prabhupada first came to India, he brought the devotees from the West. They were constantly being told, don't use your left hand when you eat. Now how to avoid it? You can sit on your left hand. Some people have to do that in the beginning because they're not trained. If you had a good upbringing, then your parents will tell you, But, most people in the West, they're not trained like that, They're trained to hold a knife and fork. Knife and fork, they eat meat, they cut meat, like that. So, coming to Krishna consciousness, it's a big change. To get people to just eat with one hand. So she didn't wash her hands, didn't wash her mouth, didn't wash her feet, went to sleep when the sun is setting. You don't want to do that, right? So Indra saw this. So Indra's watching, he saw she done something wrong. So Indra's got yoga siddhis and he made himself very small and he entered Diti's womb while she was unconscious and she was asleep. And Indra enters into her womb And what's he going to do in his womb? In her womb? What's he going to do?
Chop it into 7 pieces.
But Kashyapa said that if she makes a mistake, they automatically become Indra's friend. So why does he have to go kill them? They're anyways, even if it's one person, he's gonna be...
Well, Indra doesn't know all this.
Before becoming friend, he thought it's better to kill, right? He don't need a friend.
He doesn't need a friend.
Huh? What did you say?
I said, why Indra has to risk his life? He may not become friend.
He's risking. So he made sure he wants to kill the child
Just
in the
kill
womb.
him done.
So he goes in the womb and he's got his thunderbolt weapon, you know.
So why didn't he kill when she did not commit a mistake?
He could not enter.
Oh,
Because she's following everything properly.
so he couldn't enter because she was following strictly?
Yeah, he was following. Well, he could have entered, but he couldn't just go and kill the child because she hadn't done anything wrong. You have to have a reason to be able to, you know.
But then, when Indra tried to kill Kayanu, when Indra was afraid of Kayanu's son Prahlad, when Kayanu was pregnant, Narada stopped him to kill. And then Prabhupada keeps mentioning how abortion is bad and embryo should not be killed. It should be waited till the child is grown and then it should be killed. So then why is Indra trying to kill the embryo?
Well, the child's not going to be killed anyway. Although he tried to kill it, he couldn't kill it.
But does he get offense for trying to kill?
Indra?
Yeah?
No. No, he didn't get offense.
That's so wrong.
Indra got away, killed his spiritual master. Indra killed his spiritual master and he escaped. This is nothing.
Anyway, he enters the womb and he cuts the embryo into 7 pieces. 7 different living entities began to cry. Do not cry. And Indra told them, do not cry. They were crying. 7 different living entities, they were crying. And then he cut each of them into 7 pieces again.
So cruel.
Huh?
He said, do not cry, and he cuts them. So cruel.
Yeah. So by his yogic power, first expanded the body of one Maru into 7. And when he cut each of the 7 parts into 7, there were 49. When each body was cut into 7, the other living entities entered the new bodies, and they were like plants which become separate entities, cut into various parts and planted on a hill. First body was one, then it was cut into many pieces, many other entities entered the new body. Okay, nothing. So they had cut the 7 into 7 more, and so 49. So they pleaded to Indra, said, dear Indra, we are the Maruts, your brothers. Why are you trying to kill us? Right? We are the Maruts. Why are you trying to kill us? And so they're also demigods. And you know. So when Indra saw that actually they were his devotee followers, he said, if you're all my brothers, then you don't have to be afraid of me. I won't harm you anymore. So then Sukadeva Goswami is speaking to Maharaj Parikshit, and he says, to Maharaj Parikshit, you were burned by the Brahmastra of Ashwatthama, but Krishna saved you. Similarly, although one embryo was cut into 49 pieces by the thunderbolt of Indra, they were all saved by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And so Maharaj Parikshit, he was one in the womb. Yeah, he was saved by Krishna. So here you have the one becoming 49, and they were all saved. And then we hear about the benefits of doing this sacrifice. So So Diti worshipped Indra for almost 1 year, and because of her strength and spiritual life, the 49 Maruts were born. How then is it wonderful that the Maruts, although born from the womb of Diti, became equal to the demigods by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So Diti had become completely purified because she'd been following the vow for 1 year, doing all the different things she had to do for 1 year. So when she got up from bed and she saw 49 sons along with Indra, 49 sons were all brilliant as fire and were in friendship with Indra. So she was very pleased. So Diti said to Indra, I adhered to the difficult vow just to get a son to kill you 12 Aditya's. She was trying to get a son to kill all the 12 Aditya's. Not only Indra, but she wanted to kill all the Aditya's. And she said, I prayed for only one son, but now there are 49. How did this happen? And so she asked Indra to tell her, and Indra tells her, he said, I was blinded by selfish interest, I lost my sight of religion, and when I saw you doing a great vow, I wanted to find some fault in you. And when I found a fault, I entered your womb and cut the embryo to pieces. Right? So that's what Indra's telling us, the truth. So both of them, instead of being enemies, they spoke the truth. This is the result, this is qualification that results from contact with Vishnu. Because they've both been doing devotional service. Because they've been doing devotional service, both Diti and Indra were purified. So Indra says, I cut the child in the womb, it became 7. Then I cut each piece into 7, and now none of them have died. They've all become souls. When I saw all 49 sons were alive, I was struck with wonder. This was a secondary result of your having regularly executed devotional service in worship of Lord Vishnu.
I have a question. Indra was performing devotional service by serving Diti. So how come he wasn't purified to think that, oh, let it be? If he was performing devotional service, he should also be purified. Why did he still have the tendency that he wanted to kill the Maruts?
Well, he's become purified after he tried to kill them and he saw they didn't die. Now he understands more the power of devotional service.
So he got purified by doing a mistake.
Yeah, he got purified. He said this was a secondary result, that they were alive. A secondary result of having regularly executed devotional service. He didn't have that intention, but he accepts it. So this is the power of devotional service. This example can be given. You want to tell people about the power of devotional service, that although Indra's intention was to kill, he became purified. And he couldn't kill. Although these children were in the womb, they lived. So this is the power of the Supreme Lord. Someone pleases Krishna, no achievement is wonderful. Everything is possible. So devotee does not desire anything material. They don't even want liberation. But Lord Krishna knows their heart, He knows their desire. And Lord Krishna arranges. Just like Indra, although it seemed like he desired to kill them, the Lord actually arranged that they would live. And then they would become friends with Indra. So it was the arrangement of the Supreme Lord. So we should do devotional service, we should not have desire. Whatever desires we had previously, they can be fulfilled simply by the worship of the Lord. A devotee does not even desire liberation. The Lord fulfills the desire of the devotee by awarding him opulence that will never be destroyed. A karmi's opulence is destroyed, but the opulence of a devotee is never destroyed. A devotee becomes more and more opulent as he increases his devotional service to the Lord. Right? The devotees become more and more opulent as we increase, as we do more service to Krishna. Krishna gives us more facility, gives us bigger temples, more devotees, nicer opportunities for preaching. So many things come about by our sincere practice of devotional service. Krishna reciprocates. In the beginning there was not much, but now there's so much more.
Yes.
So Krishna gives for the devotee. So a devotee should not bother to even think about material happiness. We just want to be the servant of the Lord, and we can get everything. A pure devotee never begs the Lord for material happiness in the shape of riches, followers, a good wife, or even mukti. The Lord promises, I voluntarily bring everything necessary for my service. Yoga Kshema Bhavya. So then Indra says to Diti, he said, "Oh my mother, oh best of all women, I am a fool. Kindly excuse me for whatever offenses I have committed. Your 49 sons have been born unhurt because of your devotional service. As an enemy, I cut them to pieces, but because of your great devotional service, they did not die."
Why did Kardama Muni ask for a wife to the Lord if a pure devotee never begs for material happiness?
Kardama Muni?
Yeah, he asked the Lord for a wife, right?
Well, for service. The Lord wants somebody to propagate, to fill up the universe. They have to produce progeny.
So it's devotional service, not material happiness.
Yeah. Just like Daksha. He wanted to have so many children. This is service. You know, they have to fill up the universe. So Diti was extremely satisfied by Indra's good behavior. Indra admitted what he was trying to do, but because Diti was doing such devotion, her children were protected. So then Indra offered his respects to his aunt, and with her permission he went away to the heavenly planets with his brothers, the Maruts. They all went to heaven. Alright, so Sukadeva Goswami tells, I have answered your question. Now you may inquire further, and I shall explain more. We're hearing about the sons of sons of Aditi.
This is for days.
Okay, we'll take a break. Any questions on this chapter? Pretty straightforward. Only her. Got a lot of questions.
We have another chapter.
Huh?
We have another chapter.
Sorry?
We have chapter 19
Yeah, after
also.
the break.
Huh?
We have chapter 19 also, right?
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
chapter 19.
After the break.
After a break.
Yeah, after break. The questions are okay on the chapter?
Yeah. Oh, questions. I don't know.
And we will go through them quickly after the break.
Okay.